listening to the GreenSkull podcast,
a podcast for Fife fans, music artists, and creatives alike. Mr. Snipes.
What's it good, Gabriel?
How are you, bro?
What's good? I'm good, bro.
Shit. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man, before we jump into this.
I'm Wes. I play guitar. I sing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, pretty simple.
All right. So, really, man, I just wanted to jump into like how we met, kind of give everyone an idea on how we first met and where we are today.
Yeah. I feel like you and me met we had college together. We took, was it like a songwriting class or something like that?
Yeah, it was a songwriting class.
And it was cool and everything. First, I think I'm trying to remember the first conversation we had together. I think I told you like, hey, like I like what you had because we had like beats or whatever.
Yeah.
Samples and shit. And then you were like, oh, dude, I've always wanted to be in like a band. And you wanted to start some kind of like Rage Against the Machine type shit. Do you remember this?
I do remember this, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, yeah, I'm Gabriel. I rap. I make beats and shit. I'm like, oh, fuck. That's what's up, you know? And from there, I guess it just snowballed from there, you know? I was just doing music at the time. And then you were doing that too. And we just met each other through, you know, different performances, scenes, you know. So
yeah, I do remember how I got into that songwriting class. Well, actually, I think I just like took it just cause. Like, I don't even think I really needed it. I think I just took it.
Right.
But I do remember that I met Frank from. Remember Frank? Yeah. So
that, he had his own radio show.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, we can jump into that real quick.
Okay.
So when I met Frank, he had really threw me. Frank is the reason why I had a hip hop show. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I remember telling you that, but like when I met Frank, I remember he was like, "Man, you're so like open and like talkative." So I remember the first day he took me to the station, and that was like how it all started. Mm-hmm. So shout out Frank. But yeah, I do remember talking to you. I think I probably said something like dumb as fuck. Like I probably just like, "Hey, man.
Yeah.
I make beats," or some shit like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Cause like I think that I'm a lot better at like conversating with people now than before. Cause that's when I was like fresh out of high school. Like I didn't even know how to talk or like how to like really throw ideas back and forth with people. I think that's why a lot of the shit I think down the line didn't really drop. You know what I mean? But I do remember that from the songwriting class. I think we hung out a couple times like at lunch or like when you had time off like before the next class or something.
Yeah.
Because I do remember talking like in the halls. Mm-hmm. Did I ever get you on my show?
I came to one. You were playing at Bar's Lounge. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, shit.
I came in, but I feel like because I did call you or text you right after or like a couple days before or some shit like that. And you didn't even know I was there. I was like... oh shit, you were there? I'm like, yeah, dude, I saw you, but I bounced real quick because I came in like probably like 10 minutes before you were done, you know? But I got a little snippet, you know? So, yeah.
I remember. Mm-hmm. Shit, what about the hip hop show? Did I ever like...
Dude, I don't remember.
I don't know. That's like so far. I don't even remember... I don't remember a lot. I just remember the same day I met Frank, I got the show, like randomly. That was the same day that I actually like signed the paper for the show, like just on the spot decision. And yeah, I think from there we had talked about like making music, but I don't think that we really like actually hung out. Like, do you remember the first time we actually hung out? Like outside of school.
Hung out. I don't know, dude. Probably like we got like food or something.
I think so.
Because I know we knew of each other for a while, but we never really hung out.
Yeah.
We hung out. We went to get in and out with you, and that's the first time I met Fredo. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, shit. Oh, you were with... Oh, okay.
And you guys were like in the middle of like making one of your music videos. I think it was Valley Flows 3.
Oh, Dude, I didn't even know that you were. Damn, I don't remember that. But dude, if you remember all that, then yeah, you were there, bro. I don't remember any of that. But you know what I do remember? I do remember that the videos when we would do them, like at least from that time, Valley Flows 3, we really had no direction. We had no, like, zero idea what we were doing. It was really just like go to a place and record,
Right.
and then like edit it later to make it sound or just look cool. But man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I do remember initially, like when we first started talking, that we had the Celtics in common. Like we were talking about basketball.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I ended up giving you a
Kevin
KG
Garnett.
card.
Yeah, I remember that. I still got it, by the way.
Yeah. Keep that.
I still got that KG, bro.
Keep that. They're doing all right this year.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely. I haven't really followed as much, but I'm watching like the Instagram highlights. Cause yeah, like honestly, I don't have cable and shit like that, so like I haven't really like caught up.
I get you.
But I really want to get back into it, just cause like my friends want to have like a sports kind of theme, maybe for like an episode. Cause lately I just been talking about like fights, you know, cause I like fights. But yeah, I do remember when we first started talking about that. Like you had told me like you like the big three and all that. Like that was like the time that you got into it.
Yeah, you know what was interesting? I actually didn't get into basketball just because of basketball. I actually played a really old game from my family members. Like it was like NBA Live 05 or some shit like that. And at the time, you know, being like little and shit, you know Sonic, right? Like the headshot and shit. Well, you know, Ray Allen was from the Seattle Supersonics at the time. So I'm like, oh shit, what kind of team is this? Clicked on it, picked the, you know, shooter. And it happened to be like Ray Allen. Look him up online. Found out, bam, he's already on the Celtics, right? And found out, bam, they won a championship that fucking year. And I was just a straight up fan from that point, you know.
Damn.
But that was how basketball started for me. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you said you still keep up with it?
Yeah. I just.
Did you keep up with it like during COVID?
Yeah.
Like when it kind of seemed like.
Hell yeah, man. Like there's no shit to do. You were all
You're
like
right.
down.
Yeah, you're right. To be honest, like I tried watching it, but I just couldn't.
Why?
I don't know. Like it gave me high school vibes. Like there's no fans. It was just kind of like they didn't even like get really pumped up. There was a couple plays where like someone dunked the shit out of it, and then like the ref is like, "Oh shit," you know, the ref's like the only one there.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. I didn't really count. I mean, even though they did like get that championship.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, huh?
Yeah,
it was kind of weird.
They did deserve it, you know. For
sure. Like the year, you know, Kobe passed, and then the Lakers won.
All right.
I mean, it's well deserved, honestly.
Yeah.
It was cool. If anyone was gonna win,
yeah,
you know what I mean. It's cool that they did. But it did get me a little salty because now the Lakers were tied, bro.
I know.
We're fucking tied, bro.
And they might this year.
They have a fucking super team, dude. The super team now is like, y'all just come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Me and my buddy was like, they're the old squad. We got everybody old.
For real. Like, who's like the only... I think the young buck right now is just, what, Tatum? Who else is like a elite upcoming?
Jaylen Brown.
Oh, yeah, Jaylen Brown.
He got his game up.
Shit, son. See what I'm saying? I haven't really, like, caught up with any of this.
Yeah.
But, man.
Yeah, dude.
Well, aside from basketball, let's jump into your story, man.
Okay.
Like, what, you know, the beginning.
Okay. Well,
music.
I feel like I've been around music all my life. You know, the typical, like, I'm Filipino. So, like, the typical Filipino family has, like, if you go to fucking any household, they always have a fucking karaoke machine, you know, at parties. So that's, I feel like, how I started with just singing, you know. I remember one time me and my mother were singing together, and I just remember, like, you know, no one, you know, those like rating systems on that karaoke machine. I remember I would be singing a certain song, and then it just gave me a perfect 100, and we're like fucking jumping, all excited and shit. I'm like, oh my god, like no one ever does this, you know, no one ever had this before, you know. And I feel like that kind of snowballed. And in elementary school, you take those music classes where like, you get the recorder, right?
Yeah, like the flute or whatever.
And it's like no one fucking like what do I do with this shit, But because it's like I wasn't really passionate about that.
Yeah. It's just so
And
fucking.
then it turned into like bells and shit like that. And during middle school and high school, I got in like percussion, right? I had a lot of really great mentors and stuff like that. I was in the drum line in high school and the front ensemble. And so I was basically just in that whole world, right? So it didn't come until like 16. I did have like that guitar that I bought from like Walmart, but put in my closet and never put it out. But I'm like bored one night, take it out, start playing. And what really got me started in music was Blink. Have you heard of Blink 182?
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing their big day out show live in Sydney, just all like from a high school perspective, they would say the gnarliest shit. Like, fucking, you can't even say that type of shit that they did back then now because they would have been like gone to jail. Like, it was so much fucked up shit, but that's how they were. They were like punk kids, and basically what they taught me was don't give a fuck about what people think. Because I feel like we live in a whole generation or like, society where like, oh, like we're seeking for validation, right? They taught me everything. They literally changed my life. Just a whole new fucking perspective, Yeah, and don't give a fuck what other people think. Just do you, It doesn't matter if it's your girlfriend, your family, your friends, anybody, because as long as it's fucking passionate and you love it, I don't see why people would give a fuck, right? But you, right? So having that said, I don't know, I just had this feeling because I did play a cover of their song, and I don't know, it just hit. I'm like, playing it, and it was just this really spiritual moment. I don't want to sound like all like spiritual and shit, but it's like I just felt something like, is this it? Is this what I'm meant to do? Because honestly in high school I didn't really fuck with anybody. Yeah, I respected people, but I was just doing my own thing most of the time, just being like a lone wolf, just doing my own shit. And yeah, I mean, still doing music to this day. Joined a couple bands after high school, in my college. Shout out to Burgundy Blues, my old indie band. Andrew, Juan, Emmanuel, Eduardo, Chris, all that world. It was a cool run, being with those guys and, that whole world. We did play, I'm sure you've seen us before, right? We played around the valley, Palm Springs, Indio, Coachella. We also played Yucca, right? We also played Riverside also. And I really thought, we had something like we had, like, I respect everybody that's in a band right now because it's hard to stick together, It's kind of like for you if, like, because I remember you would be in, like, a couple or a few rap groups. So I feel like that's, like, the same kind of thing for you, But, man, it just felt like we, could have made something together, but I feel like people had their own priorities. People had girlfriends. People had, family members. People had girlfriends, family members, first priorities, So what do? Just do my own shit, And I'm glad I do have an EP out now. Just I have my own sound, which I'm fucking proud of, And it just felt like being in that band was more of like I was limited because my role was being a guitar player. I felt like I could do more, It's like being on a team, like you're just a 3-point shooter, but you want to do more than you can, And there's nothing wrong with growth, you know. There's nothing wrong with, you know, pushing yourself to do more. Now, you know, I could sing, I could play guitar, you know, I'm doing my own shit. I respect those guys, you know. I hope they're all doing their own thing and doing well, you know. So it's just a whole, you know, being in bands, man, it's like a relationship, man. You know, you got like different insecurities and shit like that, and it's like how do you work it out? So I'm always trying to better myself. It's really tough to be together, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like with bands and like a hip hop group, that's initially why like the majority of hip hop groups that I was with or in, they didn't succeed, is because most of the time, like, you know, there's always got to be like at least a leader, or at least everyone's got to lead somehow.
Yeah.
And if there's too much of like, okay, we need to go do this, and then this other person's like, nah, that's the wrong move. Like, it's a lot of, if you guys don't agree, it's gonna be hard to even like put stuff out, you know?
Right.
And like, especially I feel like in a band, because like you guys legit have to like perform in your A game every time you perform. If you're off, you're fucking up the singer. If the drummer's off, you're fucking up someone, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all over.
Yeah.
So like I think being in a band is a lot harder, because you guys have to actually be in sync and trust each other. Like in a hip hop group, it's really just an ego game.
Yeah.
You know, it's really like in total honesty, in most of the groups, at least that I've seen out here, a lot of it is just ego. There's some groups that are out right now that haven't even dropped anything, and I'm assuming it has something to do with that, because maybe they want to work on one artist project, and then well, it's not your turn yet, or whatever it is, you know. So I think just being in a hip hop group and then figuring it out, like when you have too many I guess alphas, if you want to say that, like the ones who are being innovative and like doing the most and like trying to make what they have grow, if it's not a full, like everyone's all in, then it's destined to fail. That's pretty much all it is. That's why I think a lot of people like myself and you like come from bands or come from hip hop groups and eventually make their own shit.
Right.
Because it stems from like, you know, like, okay, well, I've seen where we didn't succeed, and let me put what I'm doing, what I was gonna do with you guys by myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, I think sometimes it's good for like an artist to branch out and just be alone. Yeah. Because I feel like it'll prove to yourself how much you really want it. Yeah. You know, like, that's true. Being in so much like hip hop groups, or like talking to bands and, you know, going to like rehearsals and like just meeting people. I've pretty much developed how to do all that by myself, and I've seen you, and I've heard your EP, right? It's called an EP. I've heard your EP, and from the beginning, when you showed me your music initially, to that EP,
that was ass, all that shit. Yeah, I remember I did set out like another EP called 21 before, but I was like, no, this sounds like shit. So I just scrapped that. I'm like, you know, let me get better, you know. And you know, I'm not saying I'm an expert at mixing. There's a lot of learning that I still have to do. I feel like it'd be better for me to even collab with the engineer, you know. But I'm just content with the demos I have right now, you know. Yeah,
honestly, that project I think is pretty solid. Because I
feel that shit.
Like how you said, like the quality of like the past music, and honestly, that's how it all starts. You know what I'm saying? Like, my first album is still up on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's called On My Own. If you guys want to check it out, it's trash. Like, like the concepts are cool, but the audio is just like, obviously I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But that's the leap that I had to take, and that's the leap you took. From like how you started with your music, right? And it's just kind of shitty, but it's amazing to you at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It still is.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean my last one?
Yeah, like your last stuff. I mean, like, even though like I call my old music shitty, of course, like it's still one of my favorites, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I had the confidence to drop it. So yeah, but like from hearing from like what I first heard to like now, it's good.
Appreciate that, man.
I like it.
I fucking hear that shit. I listen to that. I still listen to it every single day, bro. Because I feel like music, you shouldn't really do it for other people. You should just do it for you. And I feel like, if it is for you, no one can tell you otherwise, because you love it so much, Like, I still use it as, like, a form of therapy. It brings me peace every single time, I listen. But, yeah, I just remember my old band, just, like, memories, I just remember, like, we would play and, we would fuck up a lot, but it's like, oh, we don't give a fuck, fuck it, just keep going, whatever. But that was a really cool aspect of that whole band was that, because honestly, dude, like, there is a lot of talent in the Valley, for sure, as Brian has said before we put the cameras on and everything. I just feel like I gotta go out there, dude, or at least have something out online, that's like, that would, be beneficial for me, because for some reason it's not fulfilling for me to play in the Valley. I've been there, done that, Like, honestly, I'm not shitting on the whole Valley, but in a way I'm like fuck the Valley, but, I don't mean it like that, Just coming from where I come from, Because I've been there, done that, and it's not fulfilling for me, It's like, man, I'm, like, wasting time, And that's, like, the worst feeling, just to waste time. I hate that, But, I'm doing what I can, I have talked to people in, like, LA and shit. I have talked to people out of the Valley, San Diego. I've been there for a couple months. And it's, like, every single time, it's, like, the door gets, slammed on you, like, no, but you gotta keep going,
Yeah,
you gotta keep going.
I think especially like moving away from the Valley, you're definitely gonna get a lot of no's. You know what I mean? Because out there it's a lot more rough. There's like a lot more competition, but that's the best part because that's the process.
It gave me perspective for sure. I moved into San Diego with one of my family members for 3 months in 2019. I learned a lot. I was still trying to figure myself out that time. I didn't know if this whole music shit was for me. I remember playing at a bar, or not even a bar. It was like it was called Public Square Coffee House, right? And I remember, this one Asian kid, bringing his whole amp, and the host, he's like, "Hey, you gonna play that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can't play that here." And I'm like, "Why?" Like, in my mind, but I'm not saying shit. Because music is expression, but they only had, little acoustic guitars that they would play with, like, small coffee house type shit, And I remember it was my turn, and I played a couple songs, and I look at the crowd and everything, and, they're, like, on their phones and shit, and I'm like, oh, man, like, in my head, I'm like, fuck, like, do I suck, But I use that shit, I'm like, all right, maybe I do need to get better. I do need to get better, which I have, from that point on. I use that shit as motivation for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe they were just on their phone just because, like, it's kind of like it's a coffee house. I'm assuming, like, were you just playing, like, guitar? Because a lot of the time it could just be, like, background music. I don't know if everyone's, like, there to see performances. Because I was maybe it's just, like, the music,
Because if I want to put on a show, I want to put on a show, Like, all eyes on me,
Yeah.
That's how I, like, every time I go on that stage, it's like, it's my life, dude. Like, like, it gives me peace every time I put on this guitar, every time I go on that stage, dude. Like, it's because it gets me balanced for, like, all the fucking shit that I'm going through. I'm pretty sure same thing for you. It just gives you balance, this whole music, And I feel like that's part of the reason why I am still alive. Not to try to get, like, all deep and shit, but it's like, there are times that, I fucking feel like shit,
Yeah, but, it's crazy, man. A lot of artists that take their craft very, like, seriously feel the same way. It's like a common thing. Yeah. At least from all walks of life that I've met. It's like a common thing where it's kind of like, if I don't make it with this music by the time I'm like 28, like, I'm out, you know what I mean? Like, they want to die or whatever. Yeah, like, honestly, I can say that that's how I felt up until I was like 19 or like 20.
Right.
Like I was on some mom spaghetti type shit. Like I was on some like Eminem, like if I don't make it famous by a certain age, then fuck it, what's the point of living, you know?
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I was like, man, like putting that on myself, it put just too much pressure.
Yeah.
Way too much pressure. And then like it became like music wasn't fun. And then like I've talked about like with friends, like people I make music with still, or like my brothers, where I'm just like, man, I don't even want to do this no more, you know. And then they tell me, you know, like, oh, dude, you got to keep going because like you've already went so far, you know. But I guess it's not just a matter of like just because I've been this far. It's really just I had to find what made it fun again. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you look at it like, you kind of have to do it to make money and then like, you know, have a livelihood out of it. Obviously that's what everyone wants, 100%. If you say you don't, you lying. You know what I'm saying? You could love it. You lying, bro. You could love it and you could still make money off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't mean you sold out. Everyone's got to live, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's one of those like, it's one of those things where like people really put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yeah, man. I remember I used to be like that too, where I would be like, man, like how come I'm not like this or like this at this time of age, you know? But now that I've realized it's like more therapeutic for me, and you know, you would post on shit on like Instagram and shit, and you would get like, you know, I don't really care about like views or anything anymore, you know. It's just the fact that people do like my shit. That's the world to me, you know. I remember when I put out one of my songs called My Baby, and one of my friends hit me up that I met from San Diego, and he never like voicemails me or whatever, or like voice messages me. It's like, bro, I just listened to that shit, you killed it, that shit was fire, and bro, like you made my fucking girl cry, you know. And I'm like, whoa, I never got that before, you know? Like,
yeah,
that's, like, again, like, feeling like, you know, some kind of, like, connection, you know, with mind, body, and soul, you know? So, it's, you know, this whole music shit, you know, it's probably meant to be, you know, for me. And I'll just keep going, you know? Like, I want to become, you know, like, there's got to be something, you know? Like, it has to fucking work for me, you know? Like, all this shit that I'm going through, it fucking has to, you know, it has to go somewhere, you know?
You know, from what I noticed from, like, the music, since the beginning, that the music you sent me, it's like a mixture of, like sadness, but also, like, comforting. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. It's, like, peaceful?
Yeah, like, some songs that I've heard, especially from the new project,
right,
they're like, some of them are just like straight up like instrumentals, I guess. Like, you know, it's just like the beat and like the guitar. Right. And then some you actually have like lyrics and like,
yeah.
And the lyrics get really fucking deep. Like hearing the song Missing You. Yeah. Like it's a lot of really deep, like the cadences is like about like, it's kind of like, oh, you're having a good time, but I'm having a better time, but it's like you're still sad or something. Like it's like I don't know, it's like a roller coaster of emotions, I guess.
All the music that I put out comes from the heart. It's honest. I feel like that's where like all good music comes from, and it's just basically experience I went through, you know. Those songs were about a certain girl, you know, that I was involved with, and those were like the feelings I felt. And it's like I remember like when you sent Trash It for the first time. Remember that what you mixed, and I remember it's like putting my headphones. I'm like, oh my god, this sounds amazing, bro. I was like in awe, bro. I was like, dude, Gabriel, you fucking beast, bro. Like, thank you so much for that. But yeah, it's like, you know, like that kind of jealous kind of, you know, feeling. It's like, you know, the whole caption is like that girl from Pulp Fiction, Uma Thurman, with, you know, coke coming, like blood coming out her nose and shit. I saw that as like, you know, me wanting to like punch a chick that chick in the face. Obviously I'm not gonna do that shit, but that's like how I felt, you know. because at the end of the day, you know, art is expression, right? So, but yeah, everything that I do is honest, you know. I'm not fucking fake. I'm always gonna be real with shit, you know. Always gonna be real, you know, no matter what. If people like it or not, at least I'm honest at the end of the day, you know. And I feel like a lot of artists nowadays aren't that, you know. They're just in it for, like, you know, the image, or, like, you know, being fake as fuck, you know. You know those people, right? I'm one of the real ones, man. Always will be, dude, you know. And I don't give a fuck what other people say, you know. But fuck them, you know. Fuck them, bro.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but like artists, like there's some dudes that like even like the famous dudes who like talk about doing pills and all this stuff,
Oh,
but
okay.
like, you know, they're not.
I feel like that's
Like drug
expressing too,
addicts.
you know.
Yeah,
Right.
but you know, like if you were actually on that, you wouldn't look as good as you do. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even be up
yeah.
on these like tours. How would you have the energy to get on stage, bro?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, I guess that in some way it could be just art, you know. But I feel like in a lot of ways, there's a lot of like background where it's just for the vibe, basically. Like it's like for the crowd, I guess.
I gotcha.
Would you say like you're in love with your craft?
Hell yeah, I feel like it's my life, dude.
So like learning guitar, because you said you were in like drumline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning guitar. Wait, didn't you actually play like the drums and the guitar at the same time?
Did I?
I think you did when we were Like I remember recording you one time.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff that I did back in the past. I wasn't really into it at that time. That's why all those songs were just scrap. But yeah, dude. I remember I did bring in like a hi-hat once and like a snare drum or some shit like that.
Yeah, actually the intro of your EP has like hi-hats and like a drum.
Yeah, that's actually from like an electronic thing I have now. You know, like a beat machine or a drum machine. But yeah, I used to do that. You know, like I said, I was in percussion a lot, so I got familiar with a lot of like snares and like toy instruments and shit like that. A lot of percussion stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
you know,
What do you use to record like your
What do you
music? Like to,
Like
you know,
on my
like how'd you
phone?
get like the quality?
I use Ableton
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Ableton, I
right
remember.
now, yeah. And I've tried using like Garage, or what's the other ones, like Logic and shit like that.
Yeah, there's like Logic, GarageBand.
Yeah, but for some reason, like my computer doesn't take that shit, so I just stuck with Ableton.
All right.
Yeah,
How long you been using Ableton?
about like 2 years. 2
Okay,
years
okay.
on and off. You know, like I wasn't really into, you know, like knowing. I still don't know what the fuck to do. I feel like nobody does, you know? It's like, you know, you're just making music just for the fun of it. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, you know? I don't even know, like, half the notes on my guitar, bro. Like, I'm not, like, music theory type. You know, I just play with feeling, and I feel like that's the expression that you got to get across is emotion, you know? Because that's what really resonates with people, you know? But, yeah, like, it's like being experimental, you know, like, oh, this sounds good, that sounds good.
I do remember that too. Like you talk about being experimental.
Yeah.
You went from like a couple styles. I do remember recording like direct from the booth, or actually from your phone, right?
Yeah, I would use voice memos a lot.
Yeah.
That's how like I first started, and then I got into like whole Ableton. That's like my production now. I mean, I still use voice memos for like, oh, if I have an idea, oh shit, record that shit real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, still do the same shit.
So how do you go about with like, what was the inspiration for this project?
I just feel, oh, okay. So, you know, everything was shit 2020. And I got into like Buddhism, you know, and a lot of people think Buddhism is always like this dude shave my head, put like orange robes around my, you know, my body. But it's more like, I'm not Buddhist, but it's more like Buddhist, implementing Buddhist practice into your regular life. So basically, Buddha is suffering. Everyone suffers. And suffering means another word or meaning in the States or like in English than what it's supposed to be. So like, for example, you're waiting in line in Starbucks. You want to get like a fucking coffee, you know. They get the wrong size. Oh, fuck, I'm fucking pissed, right? That is like suffering. So the goal, or should I say the path, is to be more peaceful and not worry about any of that shit. So it could go from the extreme of being small, from like someone fucking up my coffee order, to, you know, you're sad, depressed, anxious, you know, you got family problems, relationship problems. So the whole goal is just to be peaceful, or be more calmer with your emotions, right? So, and like I actually meditate mostly every day, right? For like 20 minutes, I put on a video of this, you know, this Buddhist from SD, you know, there's a temple out there, and, you know, I would just meditate, and it's a whole fucking game changer for me, you know, because, you know, when you wake up, have you ever heard like of like monkey brain? You know what that is? So basically, when you wake up, like you feel like, oh my god, like you're stressed out, or like, you know, like you just feel a certain type of way, like you're like angry, or like you're sad, or like, you know, you just feel these emotions in your head.
Do you mean like waking up and you're still tired or something like that?
Or like you like coming from like a bad dream or something like that, you know? I don't, but basically it's being aware of your emotions and not really what?
Like responding?
Yeah, responding. Not like it's not making your emotions take over, if that makes sense. So like you're pissed, you know, but you control that, you know? It's kind of like therapy in a way, but it's like just being aware of what you're feeling and not being triggered, right? Like, you know, if you're like driving or whatever, and then someone cuts you off, and you're aware that you want to flip them off, right? But you don't. That is like the practice, you know? I don't know if that makes sense.
Is that what they call monkey brain?
I'm just saying monkey brain is when you're like that, you know? Because you know how like when people cut you off, you
So
automatically want to say shit, or like, you know.
So monkey brain is like responding to shit that you know is probably not right.
Monkey brain is like your brain on like fucking steroids, right? Like you're feeling a bunch of fucking emotions, but yeah, that's what monkey brain is. Like you're all like wrapped up in your own head, you know, emotionally. And, you know, just being aware of that, that's the whole practice, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, you know, but
I kind of get you.
yeah.
So with that being said, that ties to this project?
Yeah. Just I actually got the album tattooed on my arm right here. Yeah, it's basically all experience I've gone through. Like this whole album was written in 2020. So, you know, it really had, you know, I really had time to just sit and like just settle down with myself, you know, like what really matters, you know. How was your 2020?
Oh man, my 2020 was like, it was rough.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I can honestly say for the first time in my life, I've actually experienced what anxiety is. Cause like I've never like before 2020, people, you know, my friends would say, dude, I'm anxious or however. And I kind of never just knew what that was at all. Like they'll say that and I'm like, oh, like just chill. Like, what do you mean? You know? So I feel like 2020 is like the first time I actually felt what anxiety was. And it's not a good feeling. Like it's a really, really bad feeling. Like you legit feel like this shit finna come down on you. It's like a really weird feeling. But 2020 was really rough. I lost my job. I had to I actually worked on the ending of like the last bit of my second album in 2020. So I guess it's kind of a good thing because like I wasn't at work, but I wasn't making money.
Right.
So, you know, the stresses of how am I going to get out of here? you know, like getting out of the house or just things like that. You start thinking about everything, and then you're like, well, now I have to start all over. I don't have a job. So yeah, I guess you could say it was kind of like a reality check.
Right.
And 2020, like, it wasn't just COVID. Like, that's when, like, the whole, you know, George Floyd, the
racism,
the everything, protests. You know what I mean? Like, Donald Trump was just being Donald Trump. Like, it was just an accumulation of all this bad energy. Yeah. Like, I legit, for the first time since I've owned a phone, I had to stop carrying my phone, basically.
You were overstimulated.
Yeah, like, I was done.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I basically, like, a lot of people don't remember, but there was, like, months where, like, no one could get a hold of me because I just said, fuck it, like, fuck the phone. Wow. Like, I would watch TV shows, or, like, I would read. I've got back into, like, video games in 2020, so, like, I got my love for gaming again. Yeah. But besides that, the bad shit was just that, really. Like, you know, I didn't want people to pass away from this new, like, novel virus. So yeah, 2020 was really not the best year, obviously, for anybody. I'm sure everyone kind of had, like, a unease, unless, like, you had a stable job somehow and, like, you were deemed essential. Yeah. Then I guess maybe it's not as bad. But I've legit seen, like, families torn apart from, like, vaccine, you know, regulations, like if you're pro-vaccine or you're not, right. Or if you're pro-Republican or pro-Black Lives Matter or not. Like, there's everything was like pick a side. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was like divide in 2020. So yeah, 2020 for me, I had to cut myself off from the world pretty much. And then I came back like late 2020 pretty much.
Yeah, dude. Speaking about that whole like racism shit, I feel like I'm going to speak upon my people too, because it's like I feel like it's important for people, and that I have this opportunity for, you know, to be on a platform for a voice for the voiceless. But you know, being an Asian artist, being an Asian representative, we all know fucking, you know, Asian hate crimes went fucking up the roof. There's people in like New York, LA, all over the world that's getting fucking threatened, bullied, just because of their color of their skin, because they look Chinese and they're not even Chinese, you know? I've seen a bunch of videos about, like, you know, people bullying elderly Asian people, and it's like they can't really defend themselves, you know? And it's fucked up, dude. Like, my fucking mom, she's a fucking nurse, bro. She had to fucking go through all that shit. And my whole family side, they all had to go through, you know, the whole COVID shit. And God knows how the fuck they survived, you know? My family members still have trauma to this fucking day with all that shit. So this whole racism thing going on, it's fucked up, bro. Like, it's difficult. It's going to be a long time for people to recognize, hey, like, we got to come together, because you're not going to get anywhere if you keep, you know, with hate or with violence or anything like that. You get together by peace or like understanding. That's how you get people together. Because I don't want my kids to fucking, honestly, when that whole, like, you know, those shootings in like Atlanta, do you remember this in Atlanta? You know, there was a bunch of people that got shot and everything. I still sometimes am skeptical about even going out my house, because I'm fucking afraid of like what the fuck would happen to me if someone tried to do some shit, you know? So it just really fucking fucked up, dude. What, not even the Asian community, but also Hispanics, also Black, you know? Because at the end of the day, we all fucking bleed the same color. I don't see the reason why we should treat other people different because we look different. I feel like, you know, like I'm connected to you, I'm connecting to Brian from like a heart and soul level, as it should be, right? And there shouldn't be any separation with any of that shit. But there still is. When I went to LA with a couple friends, White boy came up to me, and then he gave me the loudest cough right when he walked to me. He was like, and I'm like looking back, I'm like, fucking ignorant fuck. Like, shit's real, dude. I don't know if you guys see it, but racism is fucking out there, dude. Racism is out there, and it's like, you know, it's in jobs, you know, being white people. I'm not saying all white people are fucking bad, but like, white people are entitled for sure, you know. I'm using this as a platform to, you know, get shit across because I feel like it feels good in my heart to express this shit, you know. And it's still tough. It's still, you know, people are still getting murdered because of their race, you know. People are still getting hurt, and it's fucked up, dude. I don't know. How do you feel about that shit? Because I feel like it's important to say this shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, man. I totally get what you mean by the, you know, like the Asian hate crimes, I guess. Like, I think it was really just from, ever since, at least from my perspective, ever since I seen Donald Trump label the virus the Chinese virus.
Kung flu.
Yeah, like the Kung flu or whatever, like just making a joke out of it when people were literally dying. Yeah, from when I saw that, it just spiraled into, like how you said, I seen the same videos with like, you know, elderly people, like Asian specifically, getting fucked up for literally no reason. And and actually for a while too, there was some videos of like the Balotero man just getting his ass kicked just cause. And I don't know, I don't really understand what the whole, I mean, I guess I kind of get why people are being that way, because Donnie Trump called it the Chinese virus, and then automatically, doesn't matter if you're not Chinese or not, you're blanketed into Asian if you have a certain type of look. I don't really know how to explain it besides, like, it's just hateful. Like, it's just people filled with hate, basically. That think that me treating this person the way it is justified, and it's not.
Honestly, I actually got brought up like that too, for sure. But it has to be because, you know, they don't know any better, you know? Because it's kind of like, if you are brought up a certain way, what else do you know, right? So in a way, you can't really blame them for, you know, being, oh, like, don't say that shit to that, you know, Hispanic dude. Like, they're not the ones that did that shit, or like, you know, whatever. You can't put the blame to people because based off like ignorance, right? So, but that's kind of like, it's kind of like some people are already like assuming like that, and it's, you know, I had to like recheck with one of my family members like that. I'm like, bro, like it wasn't like that, like, and they're like, oh, what? Like, I feel like they're conditioned like that. But, you know,
what are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking about like putting the blame on certain people based off what they did. Does that make sense? Like, if they did something bad, boom, automatically that's like a fucking Hispanic dude, or like.
Oh, so
like
you mean like if a dude like if he's Mexican, he robs somebody, then they're all.
Yeah, like they're basically being robbers. Like stereotypical.
Yeah,
right?
I get you.
Yeah. And I had to remind a couple of my family members, like, bro, like, that's no, like, and they're like, oh, okay. So I feel like if your family is like that, you know, you gotta, because we're the next coming generation, dude, you know, but we are gonna make that groundwork for our kids and shit, you know. So, you know, I'm all for being able to not have, you know, limit racism. It's gonna be a long time before, you know, we have equality, even if that exists, you know. But it's gonna take a lot of fucking work, you know. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take generations to come, honestly.
Yeah, bro. Cause like all this shit that just passed, like, it kind of just exposed everything, you know. Racism has always been there, but it hasn't really been amped up to the max as it has, right, you know, last year or like currently, you know.
Damn, I mean, just to like bring it up a tone a bit, I know that you brought your guitar and you expressed the idea of like maybe performing a song or playing
for sure.
something.
I'll play a song for you guys.
Yeah.
We have time. Is this the last stretch or?
Yeah, I think we'll end it on this note. You play whatever you want to play, man.
Okay. Stream my EP Rebirth on SoundCloud. Thanks. Check. Could I get a check? Check. Oh, that sounds fucking good, dude. Check, check, check. Props to Brian, bro, for this whole setup. Or whoever's in charge, dude. Alright, this one's called My Baby off my Rebirth EP. Go stream that shit. Here we go. Cause you're my baby. Cause you're my baby. Keep it going all the way through. Cause I felt something special first meeting you. I'm living, breathing music because of you, baby. It's not over yet, it's not over yet. Worried, just as long as you're close to me. We don't get worried, who knows it's supposed to be. And we will keep it going all the way through. Cause I felt something special first meeting you. Living, breathing music because of you, baby. Say, look inside.
Damn.
Dude, I haven't played in like 2 fucking years, bro. That was literally like the first time I played in front of anybody. And
Bro,
that was like an acoustic set.
The energy. I started getting goosebumps and shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
Man, that was really good, bro.
Thank you, man. I try.
Sheesh.
I just want to say, you know, thank you guys for having me on this, to be an Asian representative, you know. Keep doing what you guys are doing, you know, because you guys are, you know, inspiring me too, you know. Keep doing what you're doing. Stick with it. And what's one advice that you would give to people that help you out?
That helped me out?
Yeah, just in life or like in general.
Oh, my advice is and still stands, it's never too late.
Yeah. And mine would be, don't give a fuck what other people think, bro. Just don't give a fuck, dude. You know, just stay in your fucking lane, bro. You know, go in the fucking center divider, crash into a fucking couple signs and bushes and shit, and get to your fucking destination, bro. Keep on going, you know?
Hell yeah,
Keep
bro.
on going, bro.
Man, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.